Good morning, folks. This is Stephen E. Keller, aka Dr. Positive. Coming to you today, topic is individual and the rise of Liberia. The individual and the rise of Liberia. Briefly, I'll be going over what an individual can contribute to a society. We want to look at considering ways an individual can effectively contribute to society. We all are part of society, we all are members of society, but what can we do? What is our role in society as people, as individuals? So before we go ahead with the show, I would like to start playing some music while I wait for a few people to join us. I will share the video. You do the same for me. Share the video. Let's get a few people on, and then we'll go into this topic. Like I said, I want to look at the individual. About a few weeks ago, I did a topic, relationship and the rise of Liberia. Going back, I think I should have started with the individual first before going to the relationship, because individuals are in relationship, and relationship consists of individuals. So I'm kind of like going backward, but you understand where I'm coming from. So be with me, join me, share the video, invite your friends, and tell them that Dr. Positive is on this morning. And let's go on a journey with me. So let me start the song for you. I'm going to be playing a mixtape by Dr. Willow, and this is called. The song is called "A Hill Liberia." The first song on the mixtape is "A Hill Liberia." So I'm going to start it for you while I try to share the video. So you do the same for me too. Hey, bro, child, thanks for joining me this morning. Thanks for joining. I'm gonna play some song and then share the videos so we can start the show. Okay. This is Dr. Willow, a Liberian artist. A Hill Liberia, a Hill to Liberia. So let's get this going. Hill to Liberia, hill to Liberia. Hey, Josh, welcome, brother. Welcome. Again, folks, welcome to Liberia Shall Rise. The topic today is individual, the individual and the rise of Liberia, the individual and the rise of Liberia. I'm sharing a video right now to bring on more people, and then once I do that, then we'll get right into the topic. I think this will be an interesting topic because this is a follow-up topic for a previous show I had, relationship and the rise of Liberia, how families can contribute, how people in relationship can contribute to the betterment of society. So today I'm looking at the individual, people that make up relationship, people that make up society. So we'll go into the definition of individual, and we'll look at some analogies on what individuals can do to plan to become better contributors to society, how we all, no matter where we are, no matter where we are located, how all of us can contribute and play a key role in society, whether it's in Europe, Asia, and Africa. But the fact that we are Liberians, what are we doing to help improve our society? What are we doing to help contribute to the world in which we live? So this is what this topic is about. So bear with me. I'm going to replay the song, and then we can, after the song, I'm definitely going to start the show. So bear with me for a minute. All right. Okay, thanks, Willow. Willow, check out his mixtape on YouTube. I actually posted a link. That's Willow, our own Liberian artist. He have a mixtape out on YouTube. He's looking for viewers, so check it out. I want to thank him for coming up with that. The song says, "Oh, Hail Liberia." You know, what are we doing as Liberians? Moving from the negative and focusing on the positive. So today, as the doctor yourself, Dr. Positive, I just want to tell you that, you know, we should focus on what we can do to help our society get better. So today, actually, I want to look at the individual, you and me, and the rise of Liberia. The individual, you and me, and the rise of Liberia. So looking on line, looking for the definition of individual. So I'm using Bing. When I click individual in Bing, this is what I got. Bing first came up and said the individual, to broke it down, individual. A single or separate, right? A single or separate, that's not what I'm looking for as an individual. Individual doesn't have to be single. You don't have to be separated from a family before you become an individual. So that definition, I would say, is wrong for me, for the purpose of this show. So I'll look up again. There's another definition, say, of or for a particular person. Right? A particular person, that means a person in a relationship, a person in society, that single individual, that single person in society. That's what an individual is. But then let's look further at what it means to be an individual. What does it mean to be an individual? Looking further on the Bing definition of individual, it says a single human being as distinct from a group, class, or family. A single human being as distinct from a group, class, or family. Then I said, all right, further, this is good so far. The definition for individual so far is good. But let's look at what Wikipedia have to say, right? Wikipedia, on the other hand, say, an individual is that which exists as a distinct entity right? Listen to that. An individual is that which exists as a distinct entity. That is you, that is me. I'm not my father, I'm not my son, I'm not my mother, I'm not my brother, right? I'm a person on my own, right? That which exists as a distinct entity. I'm different from everybody else, right? But bringing it all together, let's read further. It says individuality is the state or the quality of being an individual, a particular of being a person separate from other people and processing his or her own needs, goals, and responsibilities, right? The exact definition of an individual is important in the fields of biology, law, and philosophy. And I will add it again and say to economic, right? The definition for an individual is important to a country's economy. What is the role of an individual in a society? And what I'm looking at today is how can an individual prepare in order for them to contribute to society. So come with me this morning, folks. Thank you all for joining me. Marie, thank you for watching from Johnson City. Charles from New Jersey, thank you for joining me, brother. I see my own brother Jomar from Arizona. And thank you all for joining me this morning. Thank you all for joining me this morning. So I would need your contribution. I need you to call in later on. I need your participation. And if you're not, just by listening, that alone is a participation for me. So I just want to thank you guys this morning for joining me. So now that we know the definition of an individual, I want to bring you back to the society. How can an individual benefit society? What can we do as individuals to benefit society? So I came up with two analogies, right? The first one is an individual in the society. If you have to have a plan, right? You have to have a plan as an individual in a society. So I came up with two plans. One, you look at the first one is I'm an individual. So my little daughter drew this for me, right? This is me right here, an individual with one pack, right? I have only one pack. This is my plan. I plan to obtain at least 2 packs. That's my goal. I want to get 2 packs. So as an individual in a society, I'm starting with my whole 1 pack. You see here, there's the whole stomach here. This is your stomach. You don't have no separation in the middle. You don't have nothing. This is 1 pack. Right? So an individual like me right now, I exist with 1 pack. And putting that to the society, I'm just born as an individual. I was born today to my parents. I don't have nothing. I don't have no skills. I don't have nothing to contribute at all. So what would I do to achieve that goal of getting to that 2 pack or the 6 pack? The ultimate goal is to get to that 6 pack. But as an individual within a society, what would be my role to contribute in society? What can I do? Now, the other thing I wanted you to look at is, the other goal is, as an individual, I can also have a plan to go to college, right? I can have a plan to go to college. So as an individual, in order to contribute to society, in order to contribute or to be a contributing person in society, I could have a plan. And my plan would be, we'll look at the plan, not really like going to college, but the process involved in going to college. This is what we're going to look at for the individual to contribute in society. These are the things you need to do. So you have to have a plan. That's the first thing as an individual. So coming up from your mom and dad's stomach immediately, absolutely, you might not have anything to contribute. That is, you have to go to school, you have to go to college, you have to do something. But the end goal as an individual, it might not be to get a 6 pack, it might not be to go to college, but knowing that in society you have to contribute. Your role as an individual in society is to contribute, give your share of the quota. What will you do as an individual in order to make society better? Right? That's the whole thing I want you guys to look at here. So now, as an individual, you decide to pick up something. You have a plan. Your first plan is to get 6 pack. But in order to get 6 pack, you have to start from somewhere, right? So you started going to the gym. Your first goal will be to get 2 pack, right? Two pack, which means your stomach is split in the middle. You have one side, on the other side, you have the other side. But this means that an individual, you have to start from somewhere. What are those things you have to do in order for you to get to that final goal? Because one day you might be in a relationship, right? What will you be contributing to that relationship? What will be your plan? What are the things you are planning as an individual before you get in a relationship? You might be single, right? Or even if you were married at some point, you might get, if you got divorced as an individual, are you back to zero because that relationship is over, or are you going to be worth something when you leave a relationship? So as an individual, you have to have your own goals, right? So right now, my goal as a person here, consider this person as me. I'm trying to get 2-pack. That's all I want, right? On the other hand, I just want to get 2-pack. So I will go to the gym, do sit up at home, I work out at home and do things, to get to this 2-pack. This is a simple goal here. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, as an individual in society, you have to start with a simple goal. What is that simple goal for me to achieve in order for me to reach my ultimate goal of 6-pack someday, right? If I want to go to 6-pack someday, what is my ultimate goal? So I start as simple as 2-pack, right? I just want 2-pack as an individual. When I get this 2-pack, maybe it will lead me to another place where I can get that 6-pack someday, but I have to get 2-pack first, which is splitting my stomach in the middle and just making one side, you have one side here, the other side is on the other side. So that's where you have to start from. What are the things you have to do? You might fall into a relationship. How prepared are you, before you get into a relationship? What will be your contribution as an individual in that relationship, right? Because you don't just want to enter a relationship not having nothing to offer. If you are a man, what can you do to better your partner up? If you are a woman, what can you do to better your partner up? Once you get in that relationship, what are the things you will contribute as a person? So on your own, you have to have a plan on where you want your life to be. Where do you want your life to be? But without a plan, right? Without a plan, without a goal, you cannot achieve that thing as an individual. So you have to start with a goal. And my ultimate goal is to get a 6-pack. But before I get to a 6-pack, I need to get a 2-pack. What are the things I need to do to get that 2-pack? So currently, what are the things I'm doing? I'm trying to do. I started out with 500 sit-up a week, right? 500 sit-up a week. Now from every week I added another 25, right? I added another 50 or another 100. So now I'm at 1,000 sit-up a week, but it still haven't given me my 2-pack yet. So my stomach was like solid 1-pack. So as I try to achieve this goal, I have to keep doing things. You will try something and it might not work. So I started with 500 sit-up, right? I started with 500 sit-up, and this 500 sit-up wasn't giving me enough pain to know that I was going to achieve my goal of achieving this 2-pack, right? My first goal is to get to 2-pack. When I get to 2-pack, I know I can eventually now get to 4-pack, right? You see here, I can eventually get to 4-pack as an individual. So in society, what are those things you are doing as an individual to prepare yourself to be ready to contribute to society? If you are in high school, what is your plan after college? Are you looking at what courses you will take? When you take a degree program, what is that degree program going to do for you? Right? Is it going to give you money? Is it going to enable you to be able to pay your school fees? Is it going to enable you to be able to contribute to society? Right? Whatever degree you're picking up in college, what is it going to do for you? Is it going to enable you to contribute to society well enough? Are you going to be able to provide anything that will help benefit society, right, as an individual? So what is your plan? Are you trying to get a 6-pack? When you're trying to go to that 6-pack as an individual, do you know how much work you have to do to get to the first 1-pack, which is this, right? The 2-pack, right? You start with 2-pack, then you go to 4-pack. So from that 4-pack, right, gradually you have to work. So you might do things like going for a run. Even though it's not part of the plan of obtaining a six-pack, it's not part of the effort of obtaining a six-pack, but it's something that you have to do to get to that eventual goal. You might have distraction in that process of getting to your goal, but you have to keep going on. You have to keep going on, knowing that eventually you have a goal to achieve. That goal is to achieve a six-pack, but maybe someday you might get sick along the way. But that doesn't mean that you should stop as a person. It doesn't mean that you give up your goal. You have to still continue pushing on, because in order to get to your six-pack, or in order to get to your six-pack, you have to start with two. You have to start with two-pack. You start with two-pack, then you go to four-pack. You know, you don't just go to the gym one day and automatically you get six-pack. So you start with two-pack, then you go to six-pack. So I just want you guys to understand this analogy, because, you know, in society as individual, you know, in order for us to contribute, we might not have it all down. None of us have it all set in stone, right? You might go to college with a plan to achieve certain things, but something might happen along the way. You might lose your source of funding, right? But it doesn't mean that your life has come to an end. If you are a girl, you might get pregnant along the way, but it doesn't mean that your life has come to an end. You have to keep pushing forward. You have to keep pushing forward one day at a time, and eventually you'll reach that goal. So don't let a little thing stop you. You know, you have to keep pushing, knowing that you have a bigger goal, and it's to reach that ultimate goal of contributing to society, being an individual contributor to your family, your friends, your neighborhood. What can you do? What difference are you making in your neighborhood? You know, when people meet you today, are they leaving you and saying, wow, it was a pleasure meeting this person. I will always want to meet this person. I want to get their number because I know this person has some quality in them that I want to be a part of, that I want to always be part of my life. So what would be that impression? Like they say, first impression is always the best thing. You know, what is that impression that you are giving people when you meet them, right? What is that impression as a person? In order to, like I said, the whole goal here is to know an individual, looking at a society and saying what the individual can do to contribute to that society. Now, eventually, all of us, someday in our life, we have to fall in love. We have to get in relationship. So even if you have a goal to get into a relationship, you want to meet a girl, you want to meet a boy, as a person, what are you doing to plan that if I meet a boy, right, I have plan A is to be able to contribute, to do something to help us become better as couples, to help us become better. Now, as an individual, this is what I'm going to bring to the table. So if I'm discussing with somebody for relationship purposes, I know that that person have to have something to offer, right? I know that that person have to have something to offer. They have to have something to bring to the table, right? So you don't just want to get into a relationship just because of beauty. You don't just want to get into a relationship just because of the way the person looks. You want to have that discussion. You and that person have to come to that point. What agreement do you guys have? Or what plans do you guys have to move forward? Or do you think this person will uplift your plan? Do you think this person will support your goals as an individual? Because you have to go into the relationship knowing where you want to be in life before you get into a relationship. A relationship requires commitment, you know, and you personally, wherever you are, whatever condition you are in, you have to commit to yourself as an individual. Build your own goals to get to something, to accomplish something before you get into a relationship. In society, what is your role? So what are you going to do? So we have people that are in government today. My question to them is, what is your goal? What is your passion? What is your vision for that country? Right? We have government officials. The government is an entity on its own, but individuals make up the government. So what is each individual planning to contribute to this society? What are all these government officials' plans to contribute to society? What would be your legacy as a government official by the time you leave office? What will people remember about you? They won't remember the CDC party. They will remember you as an individual. So ask yourself today, as an individual in the government, what will be your role to contribute to society? What are you going to do as an individual to contribute to society? And then as a simple citizen, wherever you are, what capacity, no matter what capacity you are in, my question to you is, what are you going to do? What will be your contribution as an individual to, based on your current status, right? We all start from somewhere, maybe just by volunteering. Volunteering, you could be the best volunteer ever, and based on your volunteering, people might offer you opportunities. So if you are, even as an individual, as you still plan to achieve your goal, you want to keep doing things like volunteering, doing other things that will help you to get to that ultimate goal, which is to achieve something that you have set your mind to. And like I said, you might have some shortcomings along the way, right? If we're looking at the plan of achieving that six-pack as an individual, you might have some shortcomings along the way where you get sick, you get tired today and things, but you still have to wake up in the morning and do that sit up. You still have to wake up in the morning if you go into the gym and do that workout. So gradually over time, you still have that big plan of achieving your goal. So coming back to the individual, when you are a member of society, no matter where you are in America, Europe, Asia, and even in Liberia today, what is your plan to contribute to your motherland? What is your plan as an individual to contribute to society? No matter, like even in Liberia today, those that are in Liberia say, oh, Liberia is too poor, Liberia is suffering and things. You have to look at your society and plan your career path based on where you are and what you want to achieve. Liberia needs a lot of people who will eventually build houses, right? Because the country is not going to remain Monrovia. Liberia is not going to remain as Monrovia. It's not going to remain the county of Montserrat. So if we have people investing their time learning how to build houses, we have people investing their time learning how to do plumbing, we have people investing their time learning how to do carpentry, eventually, as individuals, all of you will be able to contribute, because if they need a builder in Sano County, we have people ready, standing on the forefront to go. If we have people that need to make farm, agriculture, what are you producing for the country? You can now become the whole supplier for food and resources in Liberia, right? Just by focusing on agriculture. So these are things you have to plan as an individual. Look at where you are right now and say, what can I do? The school I'm planning to go to, what can I do? What would that program be able to contribute to the future of society? What would it be able to contribute? The education I'm getting, what would it contribute to the benefit of my society, right? So if you have a family, the individual contribution, what is your individual contribution to your family? Whether it's the breadwinner, if you are the breadwinner, when you go into school, you have to plan and say, I'm hoping someday that I'm going to have a family. Because I want to have a family, I have to have a job that will make me money. Because I want to have a family, I might be looking into getting a job that I will stay home and I don't have to travel. I don't have to travel a lot and things like that. So those are some of the things you have to include in your plan. Like I said, on your way to achieve this six-pack as an individual, when you plan to achieve your ultimate goal of six-pack, right? You might have things along the way that might stop you. You might have other things that are not required that you have to do as an individual, right? But those are eventually all things that will help you get to your goal. So the goal of obtaining a six-pack, maybe you might have to go for a run. You don't feel good that day to do the crunches, you might have to go for a run. The run is not part of the effort of getting that six-pack, but it's something that is still at least optional, but it's necessary to help you get to that goal. So you have to keep pushing forward. You have to keep pushing forward, and eventually someday, after all the hard work, you will eventually reach your six-pack. And as an individual in society, all of us having a goal make us to be better producers, make us to be better contributors in society, make us to be ready to play our part as individuals, with or without the government. We will be able to play our part as individuals in the society. So like I said, my goal is to obtain this simple two-pack, right? But in order to, someday maybe I will get here, but this is not my goal yet. And my goal is to obtain two-pack, and I'm going to keep fighting till I get my two-pack. But what is your goal as an individual in the society you are? Are you just focusing on six-pack and you're not trying to do anything to get to that six-pack? Or are you starting gradually by doing one crunch a day, one sit-up a day, two sit-up a day? You have to start from somewhere. So wherever you are in your capacity as an individual, you have to focus on where you want to take your family, where you want to be as an individual in society. What is your role going to be? What are you going to contribute? Whether you are in government, whether you are in public service, whether you are a teacher, what is your role going to be to contribute? What are your goals? What plans do you have? What is your legacy going to be? You know, so like I said, I have two analogies of achieving our goal as individuals. So the first one was obtaining your six-pack. So you start with this big one pack, right? You start with this big one pack, then you work your way, you get two-pack, right? Which is currently where I'm trying to get, right? This is where I'm trying to get, and finally next you might have the chance to get your full pack, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. But eventually you have to do so much stuff to get to this level, so you have to keep working. Someday, like I said, you might have things that might prevent you from getting to do your exercise that is required to get to this level, but the fact that you have that goal to keep working on it, it will eventually come to pass. So I mean, someday, maybe in my lifetime, I can have the chance to show you guys that I have 4-pack, but right now, to be honest, I'm just fighting for the 2-pack, so I'll keep working on my 2-pack. So again, finally, as you work towards that goal, you will reach to this point where you get a 6-pack. So individually, what is that contribution, right? What is your contribution going to be to society? What are you doing to go? And then, like I said, the second thing was, as you, in order to plan, right? You have to plan, you have to prepare to contribute to society, because all of us are born with nothing, right? We all are born to society. We are members of society. We don't have nothing to offer, but we must have a plan to contribute to society one way or the other. Even if you say, I'm not a member of society, I'm not going to contribute, you might be a family member. You cannot be excluded from that society. You have to be part of that society, so you have to have a plan. In the plan, you can decide to do everything required. And then if you look at the option of going to college, the plan of going to college, in going to college, there are prerequisites, right? There are prerequisites you must meet, right, in order to get to your degree. In order to complete your degree, there are prerequisites you must meet in order, before you even get into the degree. Before you even get into the degree program, there are prerequisites that you must meet, right? So as an individual, right, what are the things that you are doing to prepare yourself to get to your goal? What are those things that are required? What are those things that you must do to get to your goal? What are those prerequisites if we're looking at the college level of preparation? If you are preparing to achieve some goal in life, you will ask yourself, what do I have to do to get to my goal? Right? That is the prerequisite if you look at the college analogy, right? Going to college analogy. What are those prerequisites that you must do to achieve your goal? To even get to your degree, before you get into your degree program, what are those prerequisites? So if I'm in society as an individual, I will ask myself, all right, I want to be a doctor, for example. As an individual, I want to be a doctor. But what do I have to do to become a doctor? I have to go to college. I have to go to high school first. When I finish high school, I have to go to medical school. But before I go to medical school, I must have these grades, right? So you have to plan everything out. You can't say, I'm going to wait to finish high school before I start planning to go become a doctor and things like that. You have to start planning. From high school, you have to start working on the grades to get you to even entering medical school. So those are the prerequisites in order for you to contribute to society. In order for you to contribute to society as a doctor, you have, as an individual, you have to start making that plans. You cannot wait until you graduate from high school before you start making that plan. So my goal for this topic is to talk to everybody at every level. So you might be in a relationship right now. Ask yourself the question, all right, I want to have the best relationship in this community. What am I doing as my part, as an individual? What am I doing to contribute? I want me and my partner to be financially stable. What am I doing? What can we do to fix our budget? What can we do to fix our finances? Do we have a budget? Do we have this? Do we have that? You have to put all that in play, and as an individual, you have to ask yourself those questions. And then in the relationship, you can now use your individual talent and then help your partner to become better, help society to become better. And like I said, in order to do anything in life, in order to do anything that is worth doing in life, you have to first have a plan. You have to decide that you want to do something, right? And then once you decide that you have to do something, then you have to make the plan. You have to gradually start looking for those prerequisites. What are those things that I require for me before I even get into my program? Now, let's say, for example, take the typical thing like driving. Before I learn how to drive, before I start sitting down on the road to drive, what must I do to drive? I have to go to driving school. I have to make sure I pass my driving test. I have to get my driving permit and all those things. So those are the prerequisites before you become a driver. So like I said, in order to become a contributor to society, you have to ask yourself, what is lacking in society that I, as a person, can do to contribute my share to society? Right? Then you start working on those things gradually. So now, after you finish the prerequisite, in college, there's something called elective, right? Electives are optional but necessary in order for you to achieve your goal, right? In college, they will say you have to do your elective, right? When you select those electives, they are optional, right? But they are necessary to reach your goal. So for example, you are in Liberia today. You don't have money to go to college. You don't have money to achieve that goal you want to achieve. But the government of Liberia, for example, the government of Liberia say, listen, we will provide everybody that want to work in the rural area, we'll provide them scholarship to the University of Liberia if they work 2 years in the village, right? In Swakoko, in Saninkole, or somewhere in the rural area. If you go there and teach, right? If you go there and teach, we will provide you scholarship that will help you to go to college. So now I'm an individual, I want to be a doctor, but I don't have the money, right? I don't have the money, so I have to do things that will help me get to that goal. So I have to look for ways to help me achieve that goal. So I have to do those electives. So things that people might offer you in society to help you get to your goal. Maybe you can become a houseboy like me. You know, I did houseboy, I did everything, but today I can tell you where I am today. People that I was working for as a houseboy, they never knew I was going to be today. I was going to be here today. So you have to start from somewhere. Those are the elective things that are optional but necessary in life for you to reach your goal. Those optional things that you have to do, things that you do not want to do as an individual, but they are necessary to get you to your goal. So none of us have a straight way to success. I mean, some people have because they have their family bank account, they have their parents are rich, their parents are wealthy and able to send them to college immediately. But for some of us, we had to do electives, right? By becoming a houseboy, by cleaning people's houses, by cleaning people's toilets, by doing things to get to where we want to be today. Today, I have a master's degree. It didn't just come easy, right? I did so many things to get to my goal of becoming, to get where I am today, but I had to do these electives, these things that were optional, but necessary for me to get to my goal. So if you are going through the college route as an individual to get to your goal, in order for you to contribute to society, you have to do electives. Ask yourself, what are the things that I must do, right? That are not necessary, but I must do to achieve my goal. Folks, life is not just an easy path. There's no 1, 2, 3 steps to success in life. If anybody tell you just wake up in the morning and become successful, they will be lying to you. If anybody, no matter where you are as a young person, in a relationship, single, married, you have to have something to contribute to society. And in order to contribute to society, you have to make those sacrifices. You have to do those things that are optional but necessary to reach to your goal. So for me, I said mine was selling in wheelbarrow. So I was one of those wheelbarrow boys, right? I sold on the street in Monrovia. I went to Old Road, Broad Street. I sold things. Donut. I was selling donut for my mom, right? Those were necessary things because I wanted to finish high school. So my mom, I had to sell donut to get to where I wanted to be. It didn't. I look back today, if you had me to do all those things over again, I will redo them because that's where life put me. Right? That was a situation I had in life. And at this point, I realized those things were optional things, but necessary for me to get to where I am today. So you cannot say life will always give you bread and butter. Life will not give you milk and honey immediately, folks. Sometimes you have to do those things that are optional, those electives in life that you must do to get to your goal. So whether it's a relationship you're trying to build, whether it's whether you're trying to start a non-profit, whether you're trying to be the best employee you must be at work, you have to do those things that are optional or necessary to get to your goal. So if you already have your degree and you're living your life, you're living your dream, but you want to get to the next level, what are those things that you're willing to do? You have to do to get to that next level, which will be staying up at night while everybody else is sleeping. You stay up at night and work on things to get you to that next level because it's optional. Nobody forcing you to do it, but it's optional. You have to do it, but it's necessary in order for you to get to your goal. So those optional but necessary things. So focus on the electives. Right? The electives will someday get you to where you want to be. And like I said, life is not easy. Life will not give you milk and honey. Life will not give you your sugar. At the same time, give you the tea. Sometimes it will just give you sugar. There won't be no tea. Sometimes you'll get a tea, there won't be no sugar. Right? Or you'll get a gari, there won't be even water for you to add onto the gari or sugar. You know, so you have to eat the gari raw like that. So knowing what I know and where I've been from this, I know there are electives in life as individuals. Those of you in Liberia, you might think that your country is poor, your country is struggling, but you have a life to live. You have to look at where you are in order to get to where you want to be. So what can you do in Liberia today? Right? Can you go on the farm? Can you go and ask somebody, say, let me plant pepper here behind your house? And I will just help you brush your house, plant pepper behind your house, and help me sell that pepper so that I can pay my school fees. And then when I finish paying my school fee, once I find a job, I will start planting pepper behind your house. Those are optional things that you have to do, but it's necessary if you must go to achieve your goal in Liberia. Not everybody will have the opportunity to get scholarship to go to school. Not everybody will have the opportunity to get money to go to school, but you have to do those optional but necessary things to get to your goal. So my appeal to my suggestion or advice to anybody in Liberia today who is suffering, who think you don't have anything, ask yourself, what are those optional but necessary things that I must do in order to get to my goal? Can I make farm? Can I plant potato green? Can I become a wheelbarrow boy? Can I do anything? What can I do to help me pay my school fees to get to where I want to be? And then once you know that you have a goal, and by you doing what you are doing now, it's not the end of your work, right? You'll be focused. You'll be ready to do everything you can to get to that goal. So finally, in life, as an individual, in society, in order to contribute, right? Focusing on the college analogy, right? You have to do those things. The college will not let you graduate. A college will not let you graduate if you don't do those things those courses that are required. Those courses that are required, if you don't do them, right? If you don't do those courses that are required, you will not be allowed to graduate. No matter how many electives, you take in college, if you don't do those things that are required for you to achieve your goal, you will never ever graduate from that school. You know, so the final thing on the college analogy to being a contributing individual in society is you as an individual. You have to do those things that are required. Those require or core courses you have to do in order for you to graduate as an individual. So in order for you to contribute to society, what are the questions you are asking yourself? What are those things that are required for me to reach my goal? Right? I have a goal to become a senator. What are those things that are required? Is education part of it? Is becoming a good citizen part of it? Wherever you are, no matter what position you are in as an individual, in your job, in your relationship, what are those things that is required for you to be a good contributor? Right? So ask yourself those questions and make sure you find those things that are required. Because if you go into college and you take all the courses in school and you don't do your required courses, my friend, trust me, you'll spend 10, 20 years in college and you'll never, never, ever graduate. And going to college and not knowing where you want to be, eventually you will spend money and you won't get anything out of it. So my suggestion to you is, no matter what situation you are in, ask yourself, what are those required things that I must do to get to my goal? What are those things that are required? If it means going to school, how can I go to school? So putting it all together, folks, putting it all together, if you look at the college analogy, right? In order to be a contributing society member, an individual in society, you have to have a plan. That's the whole idea. You have to have a plan to contribute. In order for you to contribute in society, you have to have a plan. In having a plan, sometimes there might be situations where you are forced to do things that are optional, right? You have to do things that are required before you get to your goal, right? You have to do those prerequisites. What are those necessary things that you must do before you start you even get into the plan of getting where you want to be, right? What are those prerequisites? What are the things I need to do in order to achieve my goal? Right? In Liberia, what can I do today? We don't have jobs available, but am I preparing myself? Right? Am I preparing myself as a student to achieve those grades that are needed in order for me to get into medical school? Right? What are those things that I must do if I wanted to be a mechanic? Am I preparing myself to go to those schools? And sometimes, like I said, sometimes you might have things that are not necessary, things that are optional, right? Like leaving high school, you want to be a doctor, right? You leave high school, you don't have no money, you don't have no support, nobody to give you money to go to college. But you say, oh, okay, LOIC offering a course in to become a carpenter, to become a mechanic for $100, and my sister or brother can give me $100 for me to go and become a mechanic or to become a plumber. By becoming a plumber, I can work 2 times a week and go to college 3 times a week, right? So those are optional things that you have to do. Those are optional things that you have to do, but eventually to get, you know where you want to do, where you want to go. So you might have to get off course a little bit in achieving your goal in life as an individual. But once you have a focus, you can do those optional things, the elective, those optional things, but necessary for you to get to your goal. So you take the elective, go to LOIC, go to Don Bosco, become a plumber. And then by becoming a plumber, you can now start going, working and making money and paying your way to college to become a doctor. You know, our eventual goal is to become a doctor, but because I'm from a poor family, because my family don't have enough money, right? Because my family don't have enough money, I now have to go to LOIC, go to Don Bosco in order for me to get to that goal. So I have to do those optional things. In my case, I always knew I wanted to get somewhere in life. In my case, I always knew I wanted to be somebody. But I realized that at some point I never had money to pay my school fees, so I had to become a houseboy. I had to sell donuts. I had to sell Kool-Aid. I had to sell things in order for me to get to my goal. But all in all, at the back of my mind, every time I sweat, every time I walk on the road, I knew that someday, by just continuously staying in school, I was going to get to my goal. Whether it meant walking from Broad Street to Airfield, right? Camp Johnson Road to Airfield. I was in Monrovia College. At times I had to walk home, but I knew it was just a temporary thing. right? I had to work just to achieve my goal. It was a temporary thing. It was a optional but necessary thing. So, folks, um, finally, I would like to end here, but I would like to hear from you as an individual. What are you doing? What are you contributing to society? What is your plan? What are you doing to help yourself? Focus on yourself, focusing on yourself in order to get to become a better person in society, in order to be able to contribute something in society. What are you doing? That is my question to you today. What are you doing? Not blaming the government, not blaming your parents, not blaming your aunties, not blaming your uncles, but what are you doing as an individual in order to get to where you want to be, right? And I said, finally, you know, you have to do things that are required in order for you to achieve your goal. Things that are required. What are those required things? Ask yourself, what are those required things for me to become a better father? What are those things required for me to become a better husband? What are those things required for me to become a better employee, right? What are those things that are required, right? So whether I'm a high school student today, I'm asking myself, what are those things required if I want to become a doctor? What are those things that I must do to become a doctor? And I said, at some point, you might have things that might stop you from achieving that goal. But all in all, knowing that you have a plan is what is key. Knowing that you have a plan is what is the key thing that will lead you to achieving that goal. You know, so again, like I said, I would like to hear from you guys. If not, I would just like to end with a quote from Friedrich Nietzsche, right? He said, to live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering, right? To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in that suffering. So, as you are living today, my question to you, as an individual, what are you doing? Even though you are struggling now, what are you doing to survive, to help yourself, to keep going forward, to help yourself keep moving forward? Who are the people you have in your network? What are those friends that you have that you can reach out to for them to give you some new ideas today? Or what are the people in your corner that you can reach out to help you to get to your goal? So, folks, I would like to end here. Glad to be back. Like I said, a few things came up that had me running back and forth, going to do other things, but all in all, you know, these were preparing me to get to this topic today, and I'm glad I could bring it to you, you know, and share the video for me, tell people about this. And I mean, these are things that we all need to share with each other. You know, we need to keep motivating and admonishing each other to keep doing well. So my advice, my suggestion to you today as members of society, whether you plan to get a six-pack or whether you plan to go to college as a contributing, whether you plan to use the analogy of going to college or planning to get a six-pack, remember, you will always start, for the six-pack, you will always start with one pack. As someone trying to achieve the goal of obtaining a six-pack, you always start at one pack. For someone planning to go to college, you will always start at zero. You don't have a degree. You might start over there. So once you know that eventually you're going to be achieving something, you have to start from somewhere. Life starts from somewhere, and you have to do everything that is required, things that are necessary in order for you to achieve your goal. So I would like to end here today, folks. If you want to contribute, I would like to hear from you. If not, I will just end the show here. But thank you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me. And I hope this topic and others can help us as a society, help Liberia to become better. And like I said, together, individually, once we know our individual contribution to society, we together will make our society better. You know, so keep doing what you do wherever you are. Do it, my man. Thanks for joining the show this morning. I know you're very busy, man. I'm glad to have you on here. And to all of you around the world that are watching, I said thank you for joining the show this morning. Thank you for your time. I will say have a great weekend. Hopefully next week you'll see me back here. But again, like Nietzsche said, right? The man Friedrich Nietzsche said, to live is to suffer, right? To survive is to find some meaning in that suffering. So today I'm asking you to find some meaning in your suffering. Find some meaning in your suffering and focus on that. Why are you going through what you are going through, and make it your goal and make it your passion to achieve what you want to achieve in life. Thank you guys. Thank you, and have a great weekend. Have a blessed time, and together let's do the best to help our little country Liberia to become better. Do whatever you can in your capacity, wherever you are around the world. I want to admonish you to keep doing what you're doing if you're already doing something. But if you are not doing anything, find something that you are passionate about and focus on that, so that you can be a contributing member of society. No matter where you are, your job or family or anything, you have to find out what you have to do to contribute to become a better member of society. Again, thank you, folks. Have a great week. All right. Till Liberia.